All right. It's your boy Demuir here, Purveyor of All Sounds Underground. What episode is this? I've got to check. I think it's episode 136. I'm not even gonna check. I'm gonna roll with that. I hope you guys are well. Feels like it's been a hot minute, which it has been. We let the sneak episode run, that masterclass. If you missed it, it's available. Just go back, check the post. It should be there. I've also set up a thing called collections, where I've broken out the master classes versus these streams, versus choose one downloadable tracks and stuff, just to make it easier to find things. And I really appreciate the support. So if you like what's going on here, please tell a friend. I really appreciate that. It's just, like lately I've just been noticing with music, it's I notice a lot of people are getting discouraged, and it might just be a function of the economy and interest rates and where they're going. There's likely going to be another interest hike, and people just getting very discouraged. And I understand that, but if you go back to some of the things that Sneak was saying, you will always succeed with discipline and being your own person in this music shit. I'm also a testament to that. I don't get every big gig. I don't have promoters banging down my door, because that's the reality. They're on this focus of getting talent that looks a certain way, even if they don't make their own music. And I find it awesome that people like you guys are here to not only to learn this craft and commit yourselves to it better, but to also make sure you're distinguishing yourself from that bullshit that's going on. So yeah, I really appreciate it, and I want to keep this community going and growing and flowing. So that's that. If you missed my other social media updates, I'll be posting the Choose One free track this month, October 3rd or earlier. So that's next week. And what was the other thing? Yes, Season 2 sample pack will be coming in October, probably by mid-October. A bunch of new sounds. It'll be mainly vocals, which I thought was very interesting. You guys like the vocal stuff, and I just scrubbed through a bunch of my tracks, like sketches I've done, and this is another interesting vocal, so I can understand it. It will distinguish your tracks, and I think you'll like what I've selected. So anyway, let me pop my screen here. I've been really getting into this Serato sample thing quite a bit, and I love what it's done in terms of being able to separate sounds and stuff, and it like isolating certain textures between, I find, the bass and isolating vocals as well as keys. It works very well, even drums too, but you got to be careful. You'll always have to do some sort of work getting the artifacts out or EQing things to make sure it sits well. And before I play the sketch, that's why I'm so happy I have the mix as I go along piece in my workflow. And you can access that masterclass in a different tier. It's about 13 chapters showing you what I do in the mix as I go along. And it allows me to just work faster and just get onto the creativity. But let's listen to the sketch, because mix as I go along definitely help get these sounds sitting nicely. Check it out.
You've been asking who the well, I'm about to introduce her. Many of you've been asking who the well, I'm about to introduce her.
We get the point here. Nice groove. I've also been experimenting with more organic drum. I'm playing this whole thing. It's really fun. So, I've been experimenting with stuff like that as well. Always try and experiment and just try something new to always elevate your sound. This is going to become part of my signature as I master these drum sounds. And Season 2 sample pack will have an introduction to these sounds. I'm super excited about it because I've been spending a lot of time and work on it. So honestly, with this sketch, doing this a lot with the LFO tool. It sounds like the tambourine is fading in and out, but this is what's happening here. I like what it's doing. It's a little aggressive, so I'm going to move it. Actually, I probably need to move this, the beginning of the LFO. It's a great tool. Again, this is Deadmau5's company, Transfer. I don't agree with a lot of shit he does and says, but this is a brilliant tool. And it's part of, I've been having this in my workflow quite a bit. This will actually sound much better, I'm pretty sure. Might need to put a shaker underneath that, but let's just get to work here, because there's a few other elements I want to add to this. Like, this is in the key of A sharp. Let me just, which is, let's see if you can see this on the camera. No. No, you can't see it here. This is probably at a better angle. So A sharp is here. Basically, it's the black key in the group of 12, right? So it's the last black key in the group of 12. For those of you that are not necessarily trained, but it is A sharp. So here's A, and it's A sharp up here. Okay, so that sound should sound rather familiar to you. I've used it on Big Man Ting. I think I'm going to bring it back in this track, but play it a little different. So let's mess around with it like this.
The one thing I do want is comprehension. You already know. As complicated, this is what I want. Man, this is what I want. You already know. Man, this is what I want.
I think I'm just going to add that just so I have the option. Let me show you my screen. Let's put it on audio 4. Where is this? So 1. Change that input to 1. Just record maybe like 8 bars of that. See how it goes. Give me that count in full. Let's do it.
The one thing I do want is comprehension. You already know. As complicated, this is what I want. Man, this.
All right, so that's down. Let's just get in here. Quick Cause guy and chop this up.
The one thing I do want is comprehension.
So I like that weird bend.
The one thing I do want is comprehension. You already know.
So I like this take actually worked out quite well. So I like the first part. No, not there. So I like these oh, it's at the playhead. I keep forgetting it cuts like that. So I like this first part.
The one thing I do want is comprehension. You already know.
And I like it here. So these are the two pieces I'm going to use as part of the arrangement. I think I'll get to a soft level of arrangement here, it seems like. So I'm cool with that. Um, let's listen back to this again.
The one thing I do want
Make sure
is
this is gain stage.
You already know.
So there's a lot of low information in this area here. Put that back up. Show you right here.
The one thing I do.
So we're gonna shade that out. I do have a stock EQ that works pretty well for leads. I consider that a lead sound. Thankfully, mono, all the actions right here.
The one thing I do want is comprehension.
So all we got to do. Well, actually, I have I think like a lead presence. There we go. I'm just gonna preview each one of these and see which one I like better in terms of the EQ on it. This has clarity.
The one thing I do want is comprehension. You already know.
So I know straight away I like the first one because it's sitting in a mix, giving me the clarity I need. I can use it for like a hook part in the song, just to keep the arrangement interesting. It's good to anticipate this sonically, and it's not too harsh with this shave out here. I've just modified the low end. So now what I'm going to do is check with Pro Q3 the activity of the low end if it's presence and it's out.
The one thing I do want
Before it was in.
is comprehension. You already know.
So good to know that it's out and it's sitting well in the mix. It's gain staged appropriately. We don't even need that plug in there. So let's just call this System 8 lead. And my bad. So I'll show you what I was looking at. I just pull up Pro Q. See, there's no low end information there, but when I shut my specialized lead synth EQ off, it's back.
The one thing I do want.
So that's what we want. So anyway, so that's sitting well. I'm good with that. I'm just going to color these two clips differently, just so I know they're doing something different in the arrangement when I'm ready to arrange. All right, so let's listen back and see if there's anything else I feel that's missing. So let's listen through.
The one thing I do want is comprehension. You already know.
Checking the EQ of the main loop.
Many of you have been asking who the well I'm about to introduce her. Many of you have been asking who the well I'm about to introduce her.
So what I'm doing here, you probably noticed I just took a 3 dB reduction at about 8 kilohertz. I might spread the Q there a bit. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I notice, no, that's a transient. What am I doing? Might have to do it here. That's one thing. I'm noticing the console one. This is probably why they came out with a new one. These, like the, how should I call it? The I don't want to say rotors, but the sensitivity, like it's starting to go. You saw that swing as I was turning the knob here. It just went way off course. So, I mean, I guess I can hold shift as I turn, but this is more of a granular thing, and I shouldn't have to do that. But anyway, the reason why I'm turning it down is I noticed as I opened up the sample, some of the background stuff, like whether it's a close hat or whatever that's in the main loop, was sort of sounding like it's offbeat, and that's just because, you know, it's its own percussion on its own time, not necessarily. Just a slight thing, right? But I can hear
Many
it.
of you've been asking who the well. I'm about to introduce her.
Maybe it can A B it. Actually, it sounded better with the EQ up. Maybe I took it way down. There we go. That's better.
Many of you've been asking who the well. I'm about to introduce her.
Okay, so right now I'm just like, do I need a shaker? Yeah, I'm gonna go for a gentle shaker at this point because, you know, I always like to feel like there's something underlying moving, you know, the beat. So let's, I'll show you my screen. Let's find a shaker. And I know I got many. I want to make sure it's in the key of A sharp, of course. Let's go dig it. Let's see. It's not even on beat. I think I know why. Are you connected to the DAW now? Why isn't it syncing up? There we go. Okay, let's like that. I like the shaker in there. So let's extend that. Just checking it against other instruments to make sure they're playing nicely together. Take down the shaker a bit. So it all should sound like it's one thing. When I take the shaker out, I want it to feel noticeable. And that's very noticeable. Take it off, low latency. Okay, so all this is working well for me. Let's...
The one thing I do want is comprehension.
Okay, so everything looks great. We got the attack on the kick. I gave it a bit more of a bump at the Pultec level here, just because I just didn't feel like it was cutting through.
The one thing I do want is comprehension. You already know.
Getting it to go into that
As comprehension.
low mids area, 300 hertz, because it still sounded a bit muddy. I'm not trying to do a generous cleanup mix down wise. I just want things to sit properly. Okay, so I probably need to do that as well on but in terms of side chaining on the vocals, because they're just talking all over the place. So even though this is cut here with the low end, it's still important, especially when you're using the Galaxy. Let me just double check this.
But one thing I do want is comprehension. But one thing I do want is comprehension.
So the Galaxy, that's not the Galaxy. I think I've mentioned this before, but you really got to watch it on the feedback. This is the W effect that I love doing on vocals.
But one thing
it comes with,
Many of you have been asking who the, well, I'm about to
you're
introduce
gonna hear it
her.
here. And it's still going. Right? So in the arrangement, because I already know I've EQ'd this as best as possible, I need to take this effect out in the automation whenever it's no longer playing. So we'll do that here. Just ramp it right down. And we'll only bring it back when it's in that part of the arrangement. And I also should take it out here because it'll probably play it at the beginning. So
Many of you have been asking
you'll
who
hear
the,
what I'm
well,
talking
I'm about to
Let's just
introduce
listen
her.
to this.
Many of you have been asking who the, well, I'm about to introduce her.
You can see I've taken it out. Now, I might tail that a bit further. That seemed a bit abrupt.
Many of you have been
Let's go
asking,
here.
many of you have been asking who the, well, I'm about to introduce her.
That's much better.
Many of you have
Just
been,
double check.
well, I'm about to introduce her.
Good. Okay. So I like that. But important because if it goes unchecked, it muddies the mix because it's doing this and I think it's more in the mid to, let's check here. It's in the mid to high range.
Many of you have been asking who the, well, I'm about to introduce her. Many of you have been asking who the,
Let's just
well,
let it
I'm
go.
about to introduce her.
Actually,
Many of you have been,
this is a better way to demonstrate it. So let's just assume I didn't reduce the feedback. I just
many
left
of
it
you have been asking
Just
who the,
just have to
well,
look
I'm about to introduce her.
at this area here. See, that's all mid to mid-high interference. And if
Many
I
of
just
you have
left
been
that there unchecked, it would muddy the mix completely in those frequencies. So that's why automating the feedback piece of this effect is kind of important to make sure that your stuff is cutting through nicely. Anyways, all right. So I think, yeah, that's good. I think we're good to arrange this. I didn't expect to get another track down today, but The Lord is good in that way. See, it's still there, right? Until we advance.
Many of you have been asking who the, well, I'm about to introduce her.
And it goes right down. It goes right down from there. So make sure if you're using these kind of WFX that you manage those collisions in the automation. Frequency collisions, rather. Okay, let's go to machine. Okay. Sweet, I got on this. Let me do this.
Many of you have been asking who the, well, I'm about to introduce her.
Okay, 1% swing overall on the close hat and claps. That's another thing I need to check. I wasn't really feeling like the claps were popping. So we'll check that. Let's just get rid of the... I don't understand what changed with this. I used to be able to select all with Command A, and now it doesn't do that anymore in Machine. If anybody knows, let me know. Just drop a comment. What's going on there? It's not an emergency, but it's a bit of an annoyance. Okay, so let's check the claps. Actually sounds like multiple people clapping. Okay, I think we're good. So let's do this. Let's highlight all of these, save of course, and we're gonna drop this. I always say, yeah, I'm gonna do the drop on the 17th bar, but it ends up being 33. But I think let's see how this goes, but maybe 17 might make sense. So that's right here. That's where the kick is. Let's name all of these first too. Tambourine. Vox 1, Vox 2, filter bass. Pretty straightforward to read. Let's just make sure they're all named properly. Regions by tracks, perfect. All right. You know, I always rock it with my close hat here. Oh, that's the open hat. My bad. Oh, yeah, that's right. I did the close hat here. So